Hi, she just killed this slide. I'm a developer advocate at NodeSource. My name's Tierney Coren. I'm a member of the evangelism and website working groups, 2 working groups under the foundation, or under the GitHub org. I'm a co-organizer of Node Together, an effort by Ashley A.G. Dubs, Ashley Williams, and working with Tracy Hines. And I love the Node.js community. So I love the community as a whole. So like every single part of the community, everything we've seen here, everything that ever goes on about discussing it, it's amazing to me that we can have such a diverse and widespread community. So I'm going to be talking about the community here today. And to get started, I'm going to give a little background, and I'm going to talk about something I think we can all agree on. Node's awesome. So there's a lot of reasons that we can each personally say that Node's awesome. I don't think any of us can name every single reason that we each think that Node is awesome, but I can try to name a few that make it feel awesome to me. So Node's awesome because of everything you can do with it. Look at what we've seen today. So we've seen, a HyperTalk built in Hyper. We've seen an interactive frozen bot, a peer-to-peer web browser, and a musical interpretation of Hillary and Trump, like sentiment on Twitter. It's amazing. All built with Node. So it's also so amazing because it's so easy to get started. You can pull up the docs, just start reading, start learning fast. The docs are so extensive. 50% of the commits to core are doc commits. You can go to a Node school and start learning fast with other people, get mentorship and get interaction with other people trying to learn Node and who have learned Node and know the process. It's also easy because so much of the community has been built around open source. So you can go read the source code of projects on GitHub. If you want to go learn about how Express was built, go read the source on GitHub. And also, the community is almost universally willing to help you. If you have a problem, you can find someone that is going to be willing to help you figure out how to get around that. So what does the ecosystem look like? What is part of that, part of the widespread awesomeness of Node? So there's 350,000 public packages on NPM right now. Almost 500 new packages are published every single day. Now that's 4 times as much as the next closest package ecosystem, which is Maven Central, which has like 147 a day, I think, on average. And then there's been almost 6 billion downloads on NPM this month alone, 6 billion package downloads. So that means that it's so massive. And 6 billion downloads for 350,000 packages is insane. Now, something funny is, when I looked the other day on Friday, it was over 6 billion, but then it dropped in the last 2 days. So the weekend affected it, by 300,000 downloads because people weren't deploying to production. So how did we get Node to where it is today? Node Core has had over 15,000 commits since 2009. There's been nearly 400 releases. We're very close to 400. Over 1,000 collaborators on the project now. So those are people who can commit code. They don't just go commit, but they can. There's been over 4,000 opened issues. And there's been over 5,000 pull requests. So there's been over 1,000 more pull requests than there have been issues. And by far, all of those have been dealt with. There's only like 400 or 500 open issues and a few, I don't even know how many open PRs, way less. So what's the binding factor in all of these kind of attributes of the Node community? what's the actual work that's gone into this? It's the community. Node's had a long history of ups and downs in the community, and they've all been quite fantastic. The story is just stunning to hear. I'm going to start kind of toward my story, at the beginning of my story, which was when it was a pretty pivotal moment in the history of Node, and it was the IOJS split. So just a quick overview of that was Node Forward was forked out. It laid the foundation, not the Node Foundation, but it laid the foundation for what Node is today. It was forked off by community contributors, a few of whom are here. It was kind of a future-forward thinking of development for Node, because the Node core project was stagnating. And being future-forward meaning that it was helping the community make sure it would sustain itself and continue to thrive. After a series of events that's too long to go into here, on Thanksgiving Day, 2014, Fyodor forked Node into a new repo called IOJS. No one was online. He decided to, and he did. A little bit of a long story behind that too, but yeah, everyone was offline because everyone was in US. Skip forward 2.5 months, and IOJS 1.0 was released. So that going from that 0.10 to 1.0 after couple years of Node 0.12 is coming in 2 weeks. Okay, another 2 weeks. So that was, the beginning of a new and, at the time, uncertain era for Node. So this is a quote from Michael Rogers at the NodeConf one-shot Oslo. Before the fork, everybody was fighting to get stuff in and fighting to make these changes happen. After the fork, everyone was content just getting their stuff done. That's really powerful, and it definitely shows me, or tells me kind of the state of how Node was before and how it is now. That wasn't speaking about how Node is now, but it still reflects how Node is now. And so it tells us what some of the benefits long-term were. So this is now one of those benefits is a model like Rodbag's open source. So this is a quote from the top from his open source description, which you can go to the link there and kind of read more. So it captures the essence of what I think, at least, is how you can contribute to the Node project now. So what does this kind of boil down to? People who can contribute meaningfully become a part of the core project. They become a part of the project. They get to decide how the project continues, and they get to contribute back to it. They get to help pick its destiny. This enables the community to grow really well, because it allows people to drop off if they have to. This was me constantly back a while ago. I was contributing, and then for 2 weeks, or for a week, I was slamming the repos, website and evangelism repos with a bunch of stuff, and then I had to drop it for 2 months because I had to go back to school. So I was like, school can go away for a week, let me get all this done, then I'll go back to school. And Michael commented on that, and it was frustrating for him because he couldn't respond fast enough before I had to leave again. So if people come back after they drop off for whatever reason, they can come back and contribute. They can still be a part of it, and they still are a part of it. They're still a part of that community, whether it be a working group, the core, Node core, whatever. They're still a part. This encourages people. It also encourages people to start participating inside of communities, so inside of Node. So there's a bunch of working groups. I actually don't know the exact count right now, but there's a working group for just about everything anyone here is interested in that's related to Node and how it could be developed and how it is developed. So this kind of mantra, I don't know if that's the right word, but this mantra enables everyone to be able to feel welcome and contribute and help the community grow. Now, this does beg the question, who can actually contribute to Node? Do you have to be a developer to contribute code? Do you have to constantly be contributing code to the project? Do you have to know JavaScript? Do you have to know how to use GitHub even? Do you have to actually have an account already? The answer is no. Of course, the GIF doesn't work. No, anyone can. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to know JavaScript. You don't need to know how to use GitHub or even have an account. You don't have to do anything. You can start now if you're not already working with core, working with a working group, working with anything on contributing back to Node. You can start now. You just need to be curious and interested in how Node is developed and how it grows. I can speak personally to this. So almost 2 years ago, I was anyone. I wasn't a part of the Node community at all. I had been doing PHP for 3 years and failing at it, 4 years and failing at it. Didn't learn much. Could only read books for 2 of those because I didn't have access to a computer. But I went back and did some investigating over the last 2 weeks and found my anyone moment. So the moment when I kind of started. It was this. So this is a PR I submitted to the website working group, the IOJS website working group. All I did was add some links that were missing to the README. These were like common links to the different folders inside of the repo. All I did was add URLs. Now, what was the result of this? I failed. This guy named FishRock123 said, this doesn't work. These URLs, if they're absolute, someone can't access them if they run it locally. They'll just get taken to GitHub. I didn't realize that. And so when he reviewed it, he said, at the Rebel Robot just forgot to add the relative links. I didn't know you could even do relative links on GitHub. Yeah. So what actually came of that first interaction with the IOJS project? All that was a basic pull request. It was rejected, but I was still really interested. I got almost immediate feedback from someone who was, I went and looked at his profile on GitHub, and he was like contributing to core and doing all this stuff everywhere. And I'm like, wow, this person like just talked to me, because I'd never been talked to by like major people in any of the software stuff I tried to do. And so that was, exciting and fun, and it made Node seem exciting and fun and active, and like I could participate, like I could actually be a part of it. And so because of the friendliness of FishRock and the Rebel Robot who responded below, and a bunch of other people who in the next following days I started submitting pull requests to fix more Markdown. I started to contribute to the website working group. I made some friends. I became closer to the project. And now I work with FishRock123, whose name is Jeremiah, every day at NodeSource. He's my coworker, and he's amazing. And that's all that I'm working at NodeSource because of that pull request, adding 4 or 5 links. So another result of me enjoying and engaging working with the website working group is that I got to work with Michael and some of the other working group members on something that was annoying them. All the content for the blog and all the content that was being published out of the official IOJS channels, so at @IOJS_official on Twitter, and then, or at official_IOJS, either way. And then the Medium and then the actual blog were being, all the stuff that was going in there was actually getting put into an issue or a pull request inside of the website working group repo. And that was starting to annoy people because it was content and I started creating it and it wasn't actually related to the development of the website. So for like 2-3 weeks a month, I started annoying people more and got them to essentially help move them to get a evangelism working group going. So the goal of the evangelism working group was to move all of my stuff that I was contributing out of the website repo into something else. So now, after it had developed a bit, what is the actual evangelism working group? So the evangelism working group has a few goals, and they include creating materials for Node and their working groups, the other working groups, not just Node Core, but the other working groups. It's a collaboration between everyone. If they need like a graphic or back in IOJS toward the merge, or maybe a little bit before, there was someone who created a script, a Node app, that automatically updated the IOJS Twitter account, the avatar, to let you know when there was a new release. And there was like 3 different kinds. There was a security release, a major release, and a patch release. And so you could always know by looking at the IOJS Twitter if there was an actual release, a new release, or what the most recent release was. That never got deployed. And I actually removed it from the working group a little while ago because it wasn't being used. But it was a nice script, and it was an effective use of the evangelism stuff. It was communication. And that's kind of what the evangelism working group does, is it tries to create communication between the different node groups and then about Node itself. So, weekly updates. Jung Minwoo, I think is her handle on Twitter, or on GitHub. She's been doing that amazingly for the last year and a half. And like almost no one's been chipping it. She's just been at it constantly, and she's done an amazing job with it. So other blog posts for review, we get called on somewhat frequently for that, if it's not like a release post. And other written content, so contributing guides or like actual review of rule sets of like COC type stuff inside of the project, inside of Node, and the organization. So helping with all this kind of messaging and communication helps everyone in the project communicate effectively, helps the community communicate effectively, and it helps people feel welcome. So if something is well written and well communicated, people are going to want to engage more. And so that helps people want to stay and feel like a part of the community. So why is the evangelism working group important? We're working toward building out the evangelism working group. It was heavily inspired by my personal kind of experience. Me helping push it, it was heavily inspired by my experience with a consistent message of, you don't need to code to be able to contribute to IOJS. You still don't need to code to be able to contribute to Node. That message is really important to me, and I want to help make sure that other people can hear that message and know that they can contribute too. Because if hearing that message to one person could change their life like it's changed mine, that's completely worth it to me. And that message really got me hooked into Node. I felt welcome. I felt like I was a part of the whole community. Everyone here, everyone that was contributing then, everyone that's contributing now, I felt welcome that whole time. And it really made me feel like I could make a difference. I don't have to do something to be able to contribute. I don't have to be able to do code. I don't have to be able to write code to be able to be a part of this amazing community. So what's going on now with the evangelism working group? So right now, there's a weekly Node.js newsletter being developed by Tracy Hines and Jen Montes, I think? Maybe not. Jen. And we're trying to help get that as kind of a addition and working with the weekly updates in Node. We're also working on getting contributors updating the Wikipedia page, the Node.js Wikipedia page. There was an issue a while ago, like a year ago, like showing that what the Wikipedia page was like. It's dreadful. It has not been updated in like 2 or 3 years. I had updated the first sentence of it and made it better, but it needs so much work. There's so many things that are out of date and incorrect at this point. In addition to that, we're beginning to develop a process to develop a system that we can summarize the insanely long issues in the Node core and then other working group repos. So, for example, I think the MJS stuff, there was a very long thread in issues about that. Now, very few people in this room, if they're actually interested in that, are going to go read 700 comments on one thread to understand the subject fully. Almost no one is. Especially when they're 5 paragraphs long and it's hard. So what we want to do with that is work one-on-one with someone who's been participating well in that thread, and then help them distill the information in there so it can be something that everyone can understand. So we can kind of get the gist of what is happening in the MJS thread, the native modules thread, or native ES6 modules thread. So for that, we need help, though. We need people to help with developing these new things. So we want you. So if you can, if you have some time, it doesn't take any major long-term commitment, come help out. Come help the Node community kind of grow in a different way than just contributing code back to the project. Node isn't just 100% code. There's so much more. So whether you want to contribute writing, design, code, if you want to create another bot that changes the Twitter avatar, we'll try to make that happen. We'll try to make that go live. You can make a difference with this and help people get into Node, help people grow into Node, and help the community grow even more. You can help it become the best community it can be. You can help Node. Thanks.